What's up guys, Freddy Fishfinger here, and I am bringing you a battle with Mega Steelix, and Mega Steelix is interesting. It's definitely not going to be OU, because it's kind of like Mega Aggron. It's got a lot of defense, not a lot of attack, and then its special defense is like, I wish this was a little bit better. But looking at its typing, it's actually reasonably good to work with. You look at Ferrothorn, Latias, and Steelix combo, and it really just whittles down what a Magnezone can actually do, because the Magnezone is not going to do a lot with Hidden Power Fire against the Azumarill, the Latios that I've got, or the Wobbuffet for that matter. If it wants to Volt Switch so that it doesn't stay in there for too long, Steelix can just come in and all of a sudden it's trapped, because most Magnezones like to be Choice Scarfed or Choice Specs. And then on top of that, what else does it got? Hidden Power Fire and Thunderbolt / Volt Switch are the main things. This one ends up having Signal Beam as well, which means it can touch me, but it's not going to be doing a lot of damage. So I'm just going to go through how this battle actually works. Unfortunately, Mega Steelix at the very end didn't quite do exactly as well I wanted it to do, because it's a real niche thing the way I'm running it. It's a Dragon Tail Rest Talk set. That's the only point. So the whole purpose is to get rid of all the fairies on my opponent's team. The more things that hit specially that go up, the better. But yeah, we'll see. I'll just quickly change the speed to normal, and then we'll hit play, and I'll show you what I do. So first I lead off with Ferrothorn, thinking that I do have the Shed Shell just in case I really have to swap out against Magnezone. Probably I don't need... Oh no, I will need to, because otherwise I'm trapped in with Hidden Power Fire, so forget that. I definitely need to. I swap out into Wobbuffet, figuring that the Sceptile's most likely just going to have 4 attacks. More often than not, Sceptile's going to be running special attacks, so bring in Wobbuffet, Mirror Coat, all of a sudden my opponent's Mega completely out of the way, out of the picture. I've still got my 6 Pokemon, I'm more than happy with what I've got. Then he brings in his Machamp, and Azumarill can take any hit. Unlike just about every other Azumarill that I've normally run, which has the Belly Drum set, this is the Assault Vest variant, because the purpose of this was to really rack up as many hazards as I could, and then rip through my opponent's team. So I just wanted to resist to things like Kinkelda, particularly. My opponent's running a Machamp that's a bit different, but it works the same way. I bring in Ferrothorn because I am not the least bit worried about this Fortress. I can set up as many hazards as I want, and Fortress is just going to have to sit there and take them. I do miss the first Leech Seed, which really was very frustrating for me, but it didn't matter. Ferrothorn is the biggest Magnezone lure. That's why Shed Shell is actually going to become a really good thing, and of course with Protect, you can scout out for whatever move Magnezone is going to go. Like I said at the beginning, most Magnezones are choice locked in some way, so we can then follow on the next turn appropriately. So of course I bring in Steelix, and then I can Mega Evolve on this turn as my opponent has to swap out. It wouldn't matter even if you had another Steel type with Magnet Pull, because Magnet Pulls cancel each other out from my understanding, but it doesn't matter. Mega Evolve into Steelix, and I go for a Dragon Tail, because ideally I want my hazards up before I start doing this, but that didn't really pay off for me. My opponent swapped out from his Magnezone, don't know why. I was of course locked in, so I had to go for a Dragon Tail since I've only got the 3 moves and only one of them hits. I do bring in Wobbuffet to sack it off, but then I get a really nice play going on here. My opponent kind of panicked seeing Wobbuffet, even though they would have 2-hit KO'd it with Earthquake. I think maybe the Latios was the reason for that. So I decided just to go for a Destiny Bond for whatever reason. It didn't really matter what I went for. Seeing the Destiny Bond, my opponent doesn't want to lose the Quag, so I think, great, I can Encore you into Toxic or Recover or whatever, bring in Ferrothorn, and then we can start getting the hazards up again. From here, I can go for Stealth Rocks, I can go for Leech Seed. It doesn't really matter what I do, because I can start getting set up. That's the reason why this Ferrothorn, it is unfortunately Gaunt Bait, but I've got Spikes, Stealth Rocks, Leech Seed, and Protect. Leech Seed, of course, helps me get Recovery back up. As you can see in the following turn, get the Leech Seed, then get the Protect, we heal up a long way. It would be better with leftovers if we really were paranoid about HP, but of course the Magnezone, we already know about that. My opponent has to go for Rapid Spin to get rid of the Seed and the Stealth Rocks. I set up a Spike, because just in case my opponent wanted to swap out rather than Rapid Spin away. But then of course I can go for a Leech Seed on this turn, Leech Seed the Machamp, and that's a really nice Pokemon to start getting taking health away from, of course. As of course, Ferrothorn does what it wants to do, just goes for a Protect on this turn, doesn't worry about the Dynamic Punch. Seeing the Dynamic Punch though, because of the confusion problems, I decide now's the time to just sack Wobbuffet. It's only got 5 HP left, it's completely useless to me, I bring it out on rocks, it's the perfect time. Now we can bring in Azumarill. The play rough was so quote-unquote obvious that I decided let's go for a superpower because I will be able to 2-hit KO the Fortress. So I do get the first superpower off, and then with 15% left I was a little bit uncertain, but I did go for it, killed off the Fortress, wasn't a big problem, and all of a sudden we're left with like no attack and no defense. At this point I was kind of praying that I would be able to kill it with Aqua Jet, but it didn't quite pull through for me. My opponent, knowing that I want to go for an Aqua Jet, seeing the first turn, has to go for a Bullet Punch, so I bring in Ferrothorn, who's going to take nothing from that, and the Iron Barbs will kill my opponent off. All of a sudden, he's down to 3 Pokemon. Brings in the Weavile. Even if it carries Low Kick, it won't kill me, as we can see there. So I am able to get the Leech Seed off on this turn. And my gut instinct was telling me that the Protect is so obvious my opponent's going to swap out, but I didn't quite do anything about it. Didn't turn out to be a big problem though, because Protect fails on this turn, can use it on the next turn, screen up, see what my opponent wants to do, and at this point, because he's got so few options of Pokemon that he can go out to, he does end up going for Signal Beam. That still doesn't matter to me, because Steelix, even with a crit, because I've got max special defense investment, because the defense stat is so high for Steelix, I decided to do that. It does nothing to me, so I was quite happy about that. Unfortunately, I do miss the first Dragon Tail, and then I have to go for a rest. This is where Steelix doesn't quite pull through for me, as we'll see in a bit. Because it's a Rest Talk set, I know there's low odds of me getting the exact move I want. That's why I only opted for the 3 moves, Rest, Sleep Talk, and Dragon Tail. I think last time I used a Rest Talk set, I said, watch the next time that it won't pull through for me. And this is the case, I get 2 Sleep Talks in a row, 2 Rests from Sleep Talk in a row, unfortunately. But I do know that at the very least, my opponent will go for Earthquake to kill me off, and Steelix can be good fodder for later on. So then I'm happy to drop a Draco Meteor because it'll do just about anything. My opponent misses the Toxic. I really don't think that mattered at the slightest, as we do get the kill with the following Draco Meteor. My opponent then goes into Weavile to kill me off. Not sure whether he thought I would be Scarf or not, but he did end up thinking that. He went for the Ice Shard, I went for the Draco, I'm able to kill the next one off, and at this point, I've got no reason to swap out into anything on the Magnezone, so I decide, even though I've got such low special attack, might as well just go for the hit, see what I can do, and then sack Latios off. Signal Beam is the move of choice for my opponent because he's got no real way of ripping through my team at this stage. So I bring in Ferrothorn thinking I might be able to live. I was wrong, but Azumarill can come in on this turn, live the Signal Beam, and kill off with a superpower. Unfortunately, Steelix didn't quite pull through for me in this game, but I think that's very much because of the way it's been designed. It's good in theory, like Mega Aggron, but in practice it doesn't quite work. I think this is very much a niche thing, getting up as many hazards as you want, and then trying to Dragon Tail through your opponent's team. Of course, you have to find a way to get rid of the Defogger, or stop the Rapid Spin, things like that. So of course, with Rapid Spin, I can go straight out into Ferrothorn, because Ferrothorn will be able to take Rapid Spins and get up passive damage. For Defoggers, that's why I've got Bishop there, because Bishop likes the Defiant boost. And then, of course, with Fairy types, I've got a little bit of an issue as well. That's why Bishop also fits nicely into there, getting Iron Heads off. I think probably the best thing for Clefable that I've got on this team, actually, but still, you get the whole point of the team. I've also got Wobbuffet there, just in case there's anything I really can't deal with, so I can trap that in and get rid of it straight away, as we saw with the Sceptile. So, I wouldn't bank on using Mega Steelix, but this is a different way of using it if you do end up trying to use it. No guarantees, as we saw with Rest Talk, though. Still, leave a like if you enjoyed, that would be greatly appreciated, and that's about it. Freddy Fishfinger, out.